So when the tournament starts on Thursday, Kevin, do you think those of us sitting at home have any clue how difficult these greens are?
Well, for those who've played it, and I have, they'll know. It's the first time I played it one time, and I was down there actually early in April too to kind of walk the course, check it out. I was on a little golf trip, and I played some of the other ones around there, but was flying in the day. My friends were playing number two, and they said it was even harder. But the first hole I played, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just off the green here. I'm going to chip it up there and just caught the edge and it came right back to my feet. And the caddy just said, putt it. You're going to putt it a lot here. And you have to do that. I mean, there are just some greens that are Turtleback number 8. That's the one John Daly just kept putting back and forth, if you remember, several years ago.
Sure.
You really have to put it in the right spots. And the middle of the green is great on most of the holes. So I don't think you'll see players firing at flag sticks unless it's Sunday where they've got to try to make something happen. It is so difficult, and the ball can run 30 yards off the green. You could hit a shot on the green, and if it spins, you could end up in a waste bunker. I mean, that's how severe some of the holes are. Number 6 comes to mind. Gosh, even number 3. I mean, if the holes in the front left, you got to hit it way up on the right side and have it feed down to the hole. It's just you've got to know the spots where to hit it. Pinehurst number 2.
So Scheffler is probably the best off the tee. He's probably the best onto the green. He is not the greatest putter in the world,
but he's not bad.
He's not bad, right? You're right. How does this course play for him?
Well, I think that point of the ball striking is going to come into play tremendously. I mean, he's excellent off the tee. That's one thing. I was just talking about this with some colleagues last week. We work on the Memorial, and we were talking about Tiger. How you'd never say he was a great driver of the golf ball because he wasn't. He hit the ball farther than everybody else, but he hit it all over the place. Right? Play a great recovery shot. His second shot, Tiger, perhaps the best second shot player since Ben Hogan. But Scheffler's great off the tee. He's great in the green, so I think you'll see him play conservatively. I mean, he seems to hole out all the time, so he's great around the green. So that's why he'll be a factor for sure around there. But if you want to look at other players, I mean, Schauffele is, I think also going to be there. Easy to say, right? I picked the 1 and 2 players. I mean, fabulous.
Way to go. You're really sticking your nose out there, man.
Well, throw McIlroy in there, and then you got all 3 that are in that group.
Yeah, say right? Rory too. That's right.
Well, I'm not going to say Rory because he just seems to have one or two holes in a tournament where he just blows up tremendously. I mean, he drives the ball great, but there just seems to be some that's just something that's off there. And even Jack Nicklaus mentioned it last week. He seems to lose his concentration for a hole or two, during a tournament over the 72 holes, and you can't do that in a major. But the other guy that's interesting to me, Shane Lowry is interesting to me for this week because he's accurate off the tee, and he, comes from Europe, Ireland. He's won an Open Championship where you got to play the ball down. I think he's an intriguing player to me this week. I don't know if he wins, but I think Lowry's been playing well this year. Matter of fact, I picked him to win the RBC Canadian Open, and he let me down. But he's an intriguing player to me because he comes from the background of you're going to be putting from off the green quite a bit there, and I kind of like that part of his game.
Well, the other guys, this is the time of year too that we always see we've touched on Bryson DeChambeau because I was amazed how popular he was the last time out we saw him play, and the amount of, because at that point he wasn't very likable. He has become, as you said, very much more likable. But you wonder if Brooks Koepka has anything left in him to play, because with all the injuries he's had, nobody has risen to the level of majors better in recent years than Koepka. But is this course suited for him?
I haven't seen him play enough this year to give it an act, but let me just go on his body of work as a career. I think mentally, yes. if he has it, but he's got to drive the ball well. You know, one of the things they did when I was there in April going through, they'd added, and I couldn't believe the number they told me. They said 50,000 more wiregrass plants throughout the property. The Corin Crenshaw design team went through and added, there's little clusters of grass to make it even more difficult. And for those who've been there, you know what I'm talking about. You get behind one of those, you're like, oh gosh, what am I supposed to do? So if Koepka can keep the ball in the fairway, and I always liked him as an iron player. Now, you think you might see more irons off the tee for him, although it does play long. I think Koepka absolutely would be a factor. His putting, I mean, he didn't fare well at the Masters, and he's a worker, so he's probably determined to show himself way better than he has been. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, I guess, to answer in short, that if Brooks Koepka was a factor there on the first page of leaderboard on Sunday.